I am smiling. I am excited. It's an incredible day. I'm pumped up about this show. Listen, welcome to the Block Thrasher Daily Morning Crypto Update, where we are shattering the complexities of crypto with news, commentary, analysis, and education. It is February 26th. Listen, I'm going to just come right out and declare it now because I am so certain about this. 2021 is going to be the year of Cardano. Take my word. 2021 is going to be the year of Cardano. We're going to talk about that today. Now listen, there are people within the cryptocurrency space who are trying to swindle people, who are trying to take your crypto, and they do it all different kinds of methods. Within any community, within any entity, within any religion, within any group, there's always going to be a couple of bad actors. And the people that want to bring down that entity or that group or that space are going to always point those people out and say, look, and they're gonna try to claim that everybody is like that. Well, that's not the case. But listen, you be sure that you do not get bamboozled. Bamboozle is the word of the day. B-A-M-B-O-O-Z-L-E. Bamboozle. Bamboozle is a verb which is used with an object to describe, to deceive or get the better of someone by trickery, flattery, or the like. Within the cryptocurrency space, keep an eye out. If someone comes to you and they're working with a company, right, or some other group or entity that says, we're going to bring incredible gains. We can promise you 100%, 1,000% gains. All you have to do is give us your crypto. All you have to do is give us your money, and we're going to bring that return to you. And there's no product. You're not buying the asset. I'm not talking about when you put money into Bitcoin or into Cardano or into Ethereum and you're purchasing an asset. I'm talking about where you give us your money and we're going to bring these huge returns. Red flags, warning signs, danger, Will Robinson, should go off in your head. These people are probably, most likely, engaging in a Ponzi scheme where they're taking the money from the early investors to fund and pay later investors. Just watch out for it. Moving on, enough of the bamboozle word of the day. B-A-M-B-O-O-Z-L-E. Bamboo. I don't know. I just like saying bamboozle. That's a fun one. Bamboozle, bamboozle, bamboozle. Don't get bamboozled, right? All right. Let's look at the market. What is happening in the cryptocurrency market today? I tell you what, it's not good overall. It is a sea of red. Ouch. Ugly. Bad. Bitcoin. $46,317.57. It is down 8.27% in the last 24 hours. That's an 11.52% decrease for the week. And we have dropped quite a bit down below the $50,000 mark. We are going to have to see what happens this week. Looking at the entire market, the market cap is now $1.4 trillion. So down $1 billion from yesterday or the day before. Volume $169 billion. Bitcoin dominance sitting at 61.5%. This is always curious to me. Did you know that there's 8,609 cryptocurrencies and counting? Yeah, there's quite a few. Moving back to prices. Ethereum is currently $1,467.54, down 9.81% in the last 24 hours. Binance Coin is down 9.7% in the last 24 hours. It is now at $224. It is down 14%, no, closer to 15% in the last 7 days. And here is the outlier. And this is not the only reason why, but this is just illustrative of what I am declaring today. 2021 is going to be the year of Cardano. Cardano is up 17% this week, up 5% in the last 24 hours. In the midst of a sea of red, Cardano is green. Not just green, it is currently up 5% to $1.10. There might be, well, there's a lot of reasons for this, but there's one also that I'm going to bring to you here in just a little bit when we cover the news of the day. Polkadot down 10% in the last 24 hours. It is currently $30.23. XRP down 7.76%. XRP, as I mentioned yesterday, just keeps getting pushed lower and lower in the market cap. And you know, I think that is understandable. I think that's justified. In fact, we had a story just today. Let's jump over to it now while we're on XRP. Jed McCaleb, one of the co-founders of XRP, continues to dump. I mean, this just never looks good, and it seems to be a recurring story over and over and over of late. Recent data from XRP Scan has it that since Saturday, February 20th, Jed McCaleb, who founded Ripple Labs together with Chris Larson and was the company's first CTO, has moved 135.8 million XRP from his wallet to dump them on the market. Jed sells some more millions of XRP. Data available on XRP Scan shows that Jed McCaleb has conducted 6 crypto transactions from his transactions taco stand. Oh, that's a good name for a wallet. Taco stand. Reminds me of that that show, Arrested Development, where the father, if you haven't seen it, the father's he's like a mafia type, and I think he was in the mafia. He was the accountant for the mafia, and he gets arrested and he's put in jail, and the son is trying to run the business, right, the family business, which I think is legitimate at this point. But the son often runs into these problems, and he's got these hurdles to overcome, and business, shortages of money. And he goes to his father, and his father's like, "Son, there's always money in the banana stand." And the son's always like, "Dad, the banana stand doesn't make any money." There's this banana stand where they sell like ice cream bananas or popsicles on the beach. He's like, "Dad, the banana stand's never made any money." And he's like, "Son, I'm just telling you, there's always money in the banana stand." So the show goes on for a long time, and then at some point the son, one day, he's talking to his dad in jail or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, it's really sad. We had to get rid of the banana stand." The father's like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, we tore it down, and we sold it and tore it down. They tore it down, and we gave it away," or something like that. And I can't remember the exact details, but he's like, "Son, I told you there's money in it." And the son's like, "Dad, the banana stand never made money." He's like, "No, I put money in the walls of the banana stand. There was, $10 million stuffed in the walls." And he's like, "Why didn't you say that?" He's like, "I did. I told you all the time there's money in the banana stand." Anyway, so apparently Jed McCaleb, that was a little rabbit trail. Jed McCaleb has a wallet named Taco Stand, and so he's been sending money out of this wallet. There were 5 transfers of 19,510,514 point for the XRP each, and one carrying 38 million XRP. So in fiat, this represents $57 million at the current XRP rate. Oh man, I tell you what, wouldn't that be nice? Fun, start a cryptocurrency, launch a cryptocurrency, don't continue on with the cryptocurrency, leave, receive millions and millions and millions, millions of dollars. It's been hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. Anyway, going back to the market, I just want to point that out. This continues to happen, and I don't think it bodes well for XRP. So XRP is currently at 43 cents. Litecoin is down 12.29%. Litecoin took quite a bit of a hitting this week, down 26% in the last 7 days. It is currently $171.27. Chainlink is down 8.89% at $25. Bitcoin Cash is down 10.68% at $482. It is down 33% in the last 7 days. So these are some pretty significant hits once we drop down to the lower ranking coins in terms of market cap. 30, 20, 25, 30% drops. We're definitely seeing quite a bit of a hit in the cryptocurrency market right now. Now there are a few others that are still up on the week. Uniswap would be an example, up 10%, 9%, 9.13% to be exact, but it is down 9.7% in the last 24 hours. So its weekly gain just being cut in half pretty much overnight. Yeah, that hurts. Now crypto.com has been doing quite well of late. It is at 15 cents right now. That token is up 16.84% for the last week. Also down 8 currently in the last 24 hours, but overall it's been doing quite well, as have the exchange tokens in general, right? But we are definitely seeing a lot of pain, seeing a lot of red in the market currently. Let's just sort this really quickly and see what our winners are for the 24 hours. Okay, so 1 inch. I was just mentioning that some of these exchanges, and the DEXs in particular, the decentralized exchanges, are doing quite well, and 1 inch it's up 13.79% in the last 24 hours. Near Protocol is up, Elrond is up, and then of course Cardano, which we've been talking about. And Engine Coin is up 1.22%, and it's held steady for the last week. And that is mostly because it had a really significant gain over the last couple of days. Engine Coin being that token that is Japanese based, that is the first token to receive regulatory approval from the Japanese government to be officially accepted as a transaction token for in-game type of activities, NFTs and things of that nature. So Engine Coin's an interesting one to keep an eye on. All right, moving on. Cardano 2021, the year of Cardano. This doesn't seem like news, but it's interesting. Charles Hoskinson, founder of IOHK, CEO of IOHK, inventor and founder, leader extraordinaire of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson has launched his own ADA staking pool. Now here's where it gets kind of interesting because of what he named it. Charles Hoskinson, CEO and founder of Input Output HK, software development firm, has introduced his own ADA staking pool. It owes its name to prominent cypherpunk blockstream CEO Adam Back. Now, Adam Back is a name that goes way back. If you start to read about the history of Bitcoin and look into some of the stories, there's some interesting things about Adam Back, and we're going to get to that. But the name that Hoskinson chose was King of Rats. According to his recent tweet, Mr. Hoskinson has launched a delegation pool for ADA coins. At press time, it is up and running for 4 Cardano epochs. The Charles pool is now up and running, he tweeted, thanks to @Adam3us for the name. I am King of the Rats. Feel free to delegate, everyone. So the new pool is named RATS, RATS pool. This is in reference to a ranking created by Adam Back, CEO of Bitcoin BTC development firm Blockstream. As covered by You Today, Mr. Black claimed that Mr. Hoskinson, and this is actually what I wanted to get to. Now, as we'll see here in just a second, actually, let's jump over and take a look at this. Adam Back is a pioneer of early digital asset research, similarly as Wei Dai, David Chum, and Hal Finney. Now, if you read the book Digital Gold, for instance, which is fantastic and I highly recommend it, it's a history of Bitcoin. And the Renegades and Ruffians, or something like that, is the title. I think I probably subtitle. I think I messed it up a little bit, but who created and invented and made it what it is today in terms of there's a lot of eccentric people in the beginning that then helped bring popularity to the coin and did a bunch of crazy things. Actually, the stories are fantastic. But in 1997, so this is predating Bitcoin, right, which was launched in 2008, 2009. In 1997, Back invented Hashcash, which is a similar system which is used in Bitcoin, right? He also implemented Credlib, a library that implements the credential systems of Stefan Brands and David Chom. He was the first, all right, to describe the non-iterative forward secrecy security property for email and to observe that any identity-based encryption scheme can be used to provide non-interactive forward secrecy. He's also known for promoting the use of ultra-compact code with his 2-line and 3-line RSA in Perl signature file and non-exportable t-shirts to protest cryptography export regulations. Back was one of the first 2 people to receive an email from Satoshi Nakamoto. In 2016, the Financial Times cited Back as a potential Nakamoto candidate, along with Nick Szabo and Hal Finney. In 2020, a YouTube channel called Barely Sociable claimed that Back was Nakamoto. Back denied this. Craig Wright had sued Back for stating that Wright was not Nakamoto, with Wright subsequently dropping the suit. Back has promoted the use of satellites and mesh networks to broadcast and receive Bitcoin transactions as a backup for the traditional internet. Now, when Charles Hoskinson was once asked who he thinks Satoshi Nakamoto might be, he said that he thinks one of the best potential candidates is Adam Back, that there's a decent chance that it might be. And so this article here on Wikipedia, which I know is not always the best and most reliable source of information, but often has information that other places don't, is talking about this video that Barely Sociable put out. And in this video is covered in detail by Bitcoin.com, talking about the many facts pointing to Adam Back being Satoshi Nakamoto. So I'm going to jump down here and I am going to just grab some of these issues that they bring up, or items of evidence. Barely Social's film has also had a number of other forms of circumstantial evidence that point to Back possibly being the creator of the cryptocurrency. I'm going to roll back just a bit actually here. It all started well before the Bitcoin white paper was published on Halloween 2008, as Adam Back described the technology on various occasions and as early as 1998. So Adam Back was describing basically Bitcoin as far back as 1998. However, prior to the release of the cryptocurrency and white paper, Back seemingly removed himself from the public eye during the Satoshi's development period between 2009 and 2010. Coincidentally, after Satoshi left, Back appeared on the Bitcoin.org forum, acting as though he's been around for quite some time. This is one of the things that the video put out by Barely Social points out. Gone for a while, Bitcoin's being developed, comes back, starts interacting on the Bitcoin.org forum, whatever. Boom, acts like he knows, very knowledgeable about technology, and acts like he's been around all the time. Barely Social's film also had a number of other forms of circumstantial evidence. For years during the early days, many people assumed that Back ignored Bitcoin for a while and then joined the community with great fervor toward the technology. Back's first posts and replies to other Bitcoiners on the bitcointalk.org forum shows his technical understanding of the blockchain was more advanced than most. Barely Social also highlights that when Back joined the community after Satoshi left, he was bossing people around like he had always been around. Additionally, the video compares Satoshi's writing style with Back's style, as they both double space and spell their words in a British fashion. Barely Social also mentions the 2015 email that allegedly stemmed from Satoshi, which has also never been disputed. Further, the video's narrator talks about how Adam Back has told people that Satoshi has written to him, but unlike Mike Hearn, Back has never shared these corresponding emails. Barely Social's film also delves deep into the 2015-2017 manipulation and propaganda that stemmed from the block size debate. Within this section of the video, it shows how the r/Bitcoin owner on Reddit, Thamos, censored thousands of people and thousands of posts, and still does to this day. Thamos operates r/Bitcoin, bitcointalk.org, the Bitcoin wiki page, and he also has some control over bitcoin.org, together with an anonymous individual called Cobra Bitcoin. Barely Social's video shows evidence that Back and other members of the company Blockstream were complicit with Thamos and his censorship techniques. Very interesting. And obviously, of course, Blockstream is incredibly influential in terms of the development of Bitcoin. Right? The video further discusses Gavin Andreessen's role when Satoshi handed the project over to the former lead developer. Barely Social's video details how Andreessen fought against the control specific Bitcoin core developers had over the project and Blockstream's influence. The video showed little bias and explained that both sides of the argument sought control. Barely Social also published a debate between Andreessen and his core developers, and Adam Back joined in during the discussion. Other prominent members of the discussion included Rusty Russell, Greg Maxwell, Thamos, and many other Bitcoin core developers. So when Back appeared in the discussion, he was anti-hard fork from the beginning and said that the Bitcoin community needs to foster collaboration and consensus to reduce the risks, and that it is possible that a number of people have signed a So this author at Bitcoin.com is saying that it's possible that a number of developers, Bitcoin Core developers and programmers know that Adam Back is Satoshi Nakamoto, but have signed non-disclosure agreements. You know, who knows? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, this is something obviously that has never been settled. There's tons of speculation about it. It's kind of one of those sub-stories that runs along the incredible story that Bitcoin is, and all this intrigue and mystery of who Satoshi Nakamoto is. And you know, it probably is best that that's never settled and never determined. Best for the coin, best for the space. It just adds to the dynamic of the intriguing attractiveness of what cryptocurrency is. But the reason I spent all that time is because it is interesting, it is fascinating, it's something that you all might want to delve into later on. But Adam Back is, without question, one of the most knowledgeable and foremost experts within the cryptocurrency space. He may even be the creator of Bitcoin. He may be Satoshi Nakamoto. And that being said, we don't know, obviously, so there is that caveat. But he said this, and I'm going to jump back to Cardano and to Charles Hoskinson, and this story about Hoskinson launching his staking pool and Adam Back naming it after Adam Back's, be inspired by Adam Back and naming it the King of Rats or Rats pool. But this is what Mr. Back added when he was talking about Charles Hoskinson. He says, Charles Hoskinson is better than Justin Sun of Tron, founder of BitTorrent CEO. Mr. Hoskinson, let's see, actually I want to jump back. Here we go. Let's just grab it here. Okay, as covered by you today, Mr. Back claimed that Mr. Hoskinson understands Bitcoin, BTC, and applied math better than fake Satoshi and Bitcoin SV, which is, you know, Craig White, created Craig White, and Ethereum inventor Vitalik Buterin. So this is a big deal, right? I mean, Vitalik Buterin is, without question, brilliant. An incredibly brilliant, genius level, especially for his age, to be 20-something. I'm not sure of his age now. I don't think he's even hit 30 yet. I'd have to look that up just to verify. Vitalik Buterin, you know, essentially the inventor and creator of Ethereum. When you listen to any of these guys, whether it be Hoskinson or Back or Vitalik, just speak, it's sort of mind-blowing, right? That you can just obviously incredibly intelligent, brilliant people. So Buterin's 27 years old. Anyway, I keep having these anacaluthons. That's going to have to be a word of the day one day. An anacaluthon is when you have a train of thought. You're talking about a subject, and then it's sort of like a rabbit trail, and you leave that one and you go to something else and you talk about that for a little bit, and then you return back to the original thought. Now, a lot of people can't do that, it seems. A lot of people, they forget what they were talking about. Have you ever been talking to somebody and you're having a conversation, and the conversation's like really engaging to you, and then their kids come up and interrupt them, and then they've got to go help their kids for a bit, and then they come back and you want to continue the conversation, but they have no idea what you were talking about before. Anyway, see, I just keep anacaluthon after anacaluthon after anacaluthon. Anyway, that's what an anacaluthon is. It's where you have that, you're talking about a subject, you side rabbit trail, you jump to another thought, you talk about that for a little bit, and then you come back. We're coming back, though. We're coming back. Coming back to the things that Adam Back said about Charles Hoskinson. So he says that Hoskinson, the founder and creator of Cardano, this is the point, understands Bitcoin and applied math better than Craig Wright, the fake Satoshi of Bitcoin SV, of Ethereum inventor Vitalik Buterin, and better than Justin Sun of Tron and founder of BitTorrent CEO. Mr. Hoskinson ironically welcomed this ranking by adding King of the Rats to his Twitter bio. The king now invites all ADA holders to delegate their riches to his pool. So, quite an accolade, quite a statement there from Back. And you know, when people like this say something of that nature, it's worth taking note and noticing. And I would absolutely agree with it. I think not only does Hoskinson, and one of the reasons why, and this block thrasher is not about just promoting Cardano. I mean, it's about the entire cryptocurrency space, and I love so many other projects, and there's so many good ones. But Hoskinson, not only does he have that technological understanding and that fundamental understanding of Bitcoin and applied mathematics and stuff like that, he's an incredible manager. And so he's a very good CEO. I would say he's the Steve Jobs of cryptocurrency. He's from everything that I've read and I've seen and I've looked at the team and I've researched the team, he's really great at going out and finding the best minds and bringing them in and get them working together and building teams that solve really, really hard and difficult problems. And that's what they've been doing. And it's funny because Ethereum's been out for quite a while, 5, 6, 7 years. I have to go check on the date. I mean, I'm guessing 2013, somewhere in there. Since and Cardano is 2015, 2016, somewhere in there, 2017. It's been a number of years. It's been 4 or 5 years, right, of development, and people have constantly been like, well, they've got no product, they've got and that's because the philosophy was not to move fast and break things, as I've mentioned before. It was to get it right. Let's make sure that we build this thing in such a way that we've gotten it right. If we're going to build, Hoskinson has often said, if we're going to build a financial operating system of the world, we want to have a high level of assurity that it's going to operate the way it's supposed to operate. Because with blockchain and with these technologies, once you launch them and you get them started, they're very difficult to change. And that's been one of Bitcoin's difficulties and downfalls of for a long, long time. Bitcoin has had a number of contentious forks, and it was and Adam Back and some of the stories we were reading just now were part of that, where you've had these factions that have developed, and one wants to go this way and one wants to go that way, and one wants to increase block size and one doesn't, and one wants to implement SegWit and one doesn't, and all these kinds of things, right? So Hoskinson, I would say, is just an incredible mind in that he has the fundamental understanding of the technology, but he also has that ability to manage incredibly well, and on top of that, very forward thinking in terms of looking at the errors and the problems of what has happened in the past with Ethereum and Bitcoin and fixing those things and implementing solutions. So the governance system within Cardano and Catalyst would be a great example of that. Let's take the time. Maybe it takes a year or 2 or 5 longer to launch, but let's think through. Let's do the QA, the quality assurance testing. Let's do the analysis. Let's write papers. Let's do the scientific research, trial, to make sure that we try to figure out what the problems could be in advance and fix those before they happen, right? Moving forward, another story that is illustrative of the fact that 2021 is going to be the year of Cardano. A Dubai fund sells 750 million of Bitcoin to buy Cardano. The Dubai-based fund says Bitcoin is pretty useless, and altcoin. I can just tell if there's any Bitcoin maximalists watching right now, they're just like, they're just, as we know. Hey, listen, Bitcoin is incredible, and I think it's a phenomenal technology. It's a great store of value. I love Bitcoin, but Bitcoin maximalism is pretty silly for a number of reasons. But it's like a religion. It's like a cult. It's like, if you speak against Bitcoin, it's like you're anathema, and it just doesn't make sense for a number of reasons. I've talked about that. I'll talk about that I'm sure many times moving forward. But these guys in Dubai, this Dubai-based crypto fund, which is called FD7 Ventures, will sell over 750 million worth of Bitcoin. 750 million worth of Bitcoin. Can you just imagine? Wow. In the next month, to purchase Cardano and Polkadot instead, it said in a release on Thursday. Both blockchains are high-speed networks that can support low-cost smart contract deployment and provide scalability to new developers. The fund claims to hold over $1 billion in net assets, with most of that in Bitcoin. However, its executives say the asset has served its purpose and newer blockchains are a better bet. Aside from the fact that Bitcoin was first to market and society has given it meaning as a store of value, I think Bitcoin is actually pretty useless, said Prakash Chand, managing director of FD7, in a statement. He added that Ethereum, Cardano, and Polkadot would eventually be more valuable than Bitcoin within the next few years. Very interesting speculation. And, I can't say that I disagree. I obviously, if we look at market capitalization, to unseat Bitcoin would be, is going to be huge. And it would be a huge endeavor. I mean, at least, I mean, it looks if you look at just at face value now, it looks that way, because you're talking about a market cap of Bitcoin that's closer to $1 trillion. The closest competitor, Ethereum, is only at $168 billion. So it's actually currently 865 billion to 168 billion, right? But the whole space is so small right now. There's so much room for growth, and I have to say that I think I agree with Chand, this CEO of this investment firm in Dubai. These other projects, whether it be Cardano or Polkadot or even Ethereum, if Ethereum gets 2.0 right, the things that can be done are mind-staggering. I mean, everything from prediction markets to identity verification systems to the NFT thing, right? Where I mean, there's so much value. You can basically have mutual funds. You can have decentralized exchanges and the swapping of tokens. And I mean, we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg, I don't think. When you get a truly functional smart contract decentralized application platform, which Ethereum is not, it's not functional yet. You cannot have the congestion that Ethereum has and the high transaction fees to do the things that need to be done to replace legacy systems, to replace legacy applications. But once that happens, and it will, and it is with Polkadot and Cardano and some of the others as well that are lesser known, it's only going to take a couple breakthrough major viral dApps to just launch and catapult those projects to the moon. It's going to be incredible to watch. And Bitcoin, can some of that happen on Bitcoin? Some of that could happen on Bitcoin, but you're not going to have, it's not going to be, one of the things that's happening with Cardano and Polkadot, etc., is they are creating this environment, they're creating this ecosystem that will make it incredibly easy, especially when related to trying to do this type of thing on top of Bitcoin somehow on a second layer or whatever, to build these applications of the future, these Web3 applications. And Chan talks about that. He says the two projects were the foundation of the new internet and Web3, a term used in recent times to describe the upcoming generation of internet startups that conduct business in a peer-to-peer manner without relying on a middleman. Some examples of these, said FT7 in the release, were Cardano's efforts to create a blockchain solution that addressed the needs of unbanked individuals in Africa, and Polkadot's continual development of an ecosystem of Web3 projects. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to tell you right now, what's happening with these platforms has the potential, and I'm saying has the potential because, let's throw this caveat out there. It could not work. It obviously, there could be no, I don't think that's going to happen, but they have the potential to be as revolutionary as the internet itself. We could see a .com type craze thing happen where, remember back in the day, it was like everybody's launching pets.com and, website after website after website, and we're seeing all this e-commerce come to be, and things like Amazon have come as a result of it, and the biggest, wealthiest companies in the world, right? Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, throw some of the others, Twitter in there, social media. These are the most valuable companies in the world, and we could potentially see that happen in this space with the companies that are launched on these platforms. So it could be absolutely huge. Moving forward, JP Morgan Chase is finally, after years of throwing FUD, after years of making statements like Bitcoin will be worth zero, statements like anyone within our company that purchases Bitcoin will be fired by the CEO, Jamie Dimon, etc., is now saying, put 1% in Bitcoin as a hedge. This is according to the JP Morgan analyst. And I don't know. This is just funny to me. It makes me laugh. I mean, it's positive on the one hand to see that they're finally coming around and suggesting that their clients put some money into Bitcoin. But on the other hand, it's sort of like 1%, you know? I don't know. Okay, great, bring it in, but you're gonna be left behind. That's all there is to it. Cited by Bloomberg, they seemed somewhat cautious, but still indicated that investors should look into BTC for a possible hedge. In a multi-asset portfolio, investors can likely add up to 1% of their allocation to cryptocurrencies in order to achieve any efficiency gain in the overall risk-adjusted returns of the portfolio. You know, I would have to guess that what's happening here is that they've had so many of their clients say, hey, we want some crypto. And then they realize and recognize, well, hey, we're going to miss out on the opportunity to earn some income here through the fees that we charge our clients. And why would they want to do that if they have this revenue sitting on the table from charging their clients fees for managing their portfolios and adding crypto into it? Why would they not want to do that? Obviously, it can't hurt that Bitcoin has reached close to $50,000 in this current bull run. All right, moving on. In a similar note, Bridgewater is the largest investment firm, largest hedge fund in the country, and Rebecca Patterson, director of investment research there, has explained what could make the firm invest in Bitcoin. In an interview with Bloomberg TV on Wednesday, Patterson said, firstly, Bitcoin's volatility needs to be reduced. Right now, Bitcoin can move 10% on a tweet. That's not exactly a stronghold of wealth for most institutional investors, she said, adding that Bitcoin's volatility is about 10 times that of the US dollar and still double that of the Venezuelan Bolivar. Okay. Yeah. It's a new market. It's early, it's young, it's volatile. It's a good thing for those of us that want to trade it. Buy low, sell high. The little guy can get in if he's good, turn some profits. I think this has more to do with we want to know that we can control it. That what that means, the way that you end up not having volatility like that, is with market makers, the big institutions that can do the high frequency trading and can kind of control the market in a way. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think through. Will we ever see there be less volatility? I imagine that could be, but you want to think on that more and talk about it more. Secondly, Bitcoin needs, she says, to have greater liquidity. And finally, it needs to have regulatory certainty. Well, I don't know how you get to have greater liquidity with Bitcoin, because it has a fixed supply of 21 million and a lot of people are just going to hold it. A lot of people are going to hold it. We were looking at some data just yesterday that shows that 50 to 70% of people from as far back as 2016, 17, just holding. The more you get a real regulatory ecosystem, she said it also needs to have regulatory certainty. I'm not sure what she's talking about with that, because man, there's been a lot more regulatory certainty of late. And we have futures on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. We have a whole bunch of other companies adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, including Tesla. We have Coinbase with its recent SEC filing to go public. We have on and on and on. There's just been story after story. The banks have been given regulatory approval in the United States to be custodians, to do custody of cryptocurrencies. Visa, working with this company called Anchorage has built a platform to help the banks provide their customers with custody services and buying and selling of cryptocurrencies. I mean, everywhere you look, the regulatory concerns have been solved, but yet they're still talking about this here. So we'll see. Interestingly, Bridgewater, which was founded by Ray Dalio in 1975 and manages more than 150 million worth of assets, last month Dalio said Bitcoin is one hell of an invention and it won't escape our scrutiny. So I think what's happening here is this. These guys, like JP Morgan and so many others, they want to throw FUD out there because they are getting in. They do intend to get in. I mean, when Dalio said, Dalio's attitudes have been changing as of late. He's made other statements as well. It's one hell of an invention and won't escape our scrutiny. They're gonna get in. It's inevitable. But like anyone, they want to get in at the lowest possible price. And being influential as they are, of course they're going to use that influence to do what they can to get their Bitcoin at the best possible price. All right, moving on to the last segment of the day, our education segment. Yeah, I think I can say that. There we go. I got it out. Education. Safeguarding your crypto. Now, this is an article that is up on blockthrasher.com. On blockthrasher.com, we have a tab that's titled Crypto 101, and this is geared towards helping people who are new to the space to understand the basics of cryptocurrency. Safeguarding your crypto is one of the most important subjects. In fact, it's one of the things that keeps many people, I think, from getting into the space. I've talked to a number of friends who are like, I just don't think that I can keep my crypto safe, and I just feel better having a company or a bank that holds it for me so that I know that if something happens, they're going to be able to recover it for me and that sort of thing. And that is an understandable concern. However, there are things you can do to make sure that that won't happen. Some simple steps to take, and that's what this article is about. I talk about best practices for crypto storage, the dangers of keeping cryptos on exchanges, which are essentially banks, and the benefits of cold storage hardware wallets. Number one, don't leave your cryptocurrency on exchange. Generally, storing coins on exchange is not recommended for the following reasons. Number one is hacking. So many people who don't understand blockchain and cryptocurrency have said to me, oh, I just don't want to do that funny monopoly money because it gets hacked and it gets stolen and I'll lose it. And they don't understand that it's not Bitcoin that get hacked. It's not Cardano or Polkadot or Ethereum or any other crypto that gets hacked. It's the exchanges, which are centralized entities that operate databases and platforms of their own, that get hacked. And that's where the crypto gets stolen, is because somebody gets access to those wallets. And can you get hacked? Sure, you can get hacked. If you write down your recovery phrase on a piece of paper and you leave it laying around someplace and somebody finds it and goes, oh, hey, that looks like a Bitcoin wallet recovery phrase, so you have to take those precautions. Now, interestingly, the most famous hacking of all time happened on June 19th of 2011. A hacker gained access to the Mt. Gox exchange and began making changes to the database. This gave him access to any amount of Bitcoin according to the exchange's database that he wanted. Now, it's really important to note that he was not able to make changes to the Bitcoin blockchain. He was only able to make changes to the exchange database. And so this is what happens. Somebody gets in through the back door, or an employee at this corporation gets socially hacked, right? Somebody gets to know them, builds trust, starts to learn things about them, eventually figures out what their password is, gets in. This is why centralization is such a problem, and then starts taking crypto from their vaults or from their wallets. That's how it happens. So hacking is the first danger of leaving coins on exchange, but it's not the only. A lack of insurance of deposited funds is another. There is no insurance. Coins in the custody of an exchange do not fall under FDIC insurance or any other governmental protections. Coinbase states it such. Digital currency is not legal tender, is not backed by the government, and digital currency accounts and value balances on Coinbase are not subject to Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation or Security Investor Protection Corporation protections. So if the exchange goes bankrupt or disappears with your coins or just has some kind of other accounting error or whatever it might be and fails to protect you against their error, their mistakes, or hackers, you're out of luck. It's as simple as that. You're out of luck. There's no restitution. There's nothing that can be done. The only way to protect against this is self-custody. What does self-custody mean? Self-custody means holding your crypto yourself. It means holding your private keys in your own wallet. This is not unlike gold and silver, and the same issue can occur. Whereas if you purchase a gold certificate or a silver certificate, all right, on a commodities exchange, and you hold that paper asset, and something happens, whatever it may be, from the most wild and extreme scenario of the electrical grid going down to, some sort of technological error, you can't get that physical asset. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. It's often said. And the same is true with crypto. If you don't have your private keys, you don't own it. The risk side to that is if you lose your private keys, you're also screwed. So you don't want to do that, and we're going to talk about how to make sure you don't do that. Now, another potential issue with exchanges is that they could practice a form of fractional reserve banking. I'm not saying this happens, but it could, and it's a reason why everyone in the cryptocurrency space should withdraw their crypto and not leave it on exchanges. And this is going to become even a bigger problem increasingly as people are going to just find it convenient. Oh, well, I can stake my Ethereum on Coinbase, and that's a problem with Ethereum because you have to have 32 Ethers locked up to stake. So a lot of people aren't going to be able to do that because they don't have 50K or whatever it is right now to drop on to set up their own, and it's difficult to set up to do the staking technically. That's a problem, but that's a side note. People are going to find it's just easy and simple to leave their cryptocurrency on an exchange, and without the protections in place, that could be a huge problem for them. So what I was going to talk about, got a little distracted, is the fractional reserve banking issue. Now, fractional reserve banking is a system in which only a fraction of a bank's deposits are backed by actual cash in hand available for withdrawal. So this is a system that works really well until it doesn't, and basically I'll describe it for you quickly, and this is how it works. When you put money in the bank, they don't have to hold that money in deposit. They can use it for all kinds of things. They can use it for loans. They can use it to buy equities. They can do all kinds of things. So there are laws and rules and regulations in the United States that require the banks to hold a certain percent of deposits on hand, so they actually have money, right, for cash. And it's really low. I don't know what the exact number is now. I know it's closer to 7% or less, right? So this is the reason why you can have a run on the bank, because if everyone, at banks at JP Morgan Chase tomorrow decides that they want to go and withdraw their money, that money's not there. The money's tied up in all kinds of things. And so exchanges could do the same thing, where there's 21 million Bitcoin that exist, but an exchange like Binance could sell to its clients who are coming in with fiat, 200 million Bitcoin in theory, and it's not real Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin that ever touches the Bitcoin blockchain. It's just on their accounting system, right, in their database. And as long as they don't run into a situation in which too many of the users of that exchange of Binance want to pull out Bitcoin and send it to their private wallets at the same time, they're fine. In theory, especially if they have a lot of bank backing and they have a lot of fiat currency, because then what happens is they know, okay, we have the data. Only 10% of our users ever pull out the Bitcoin. The rest of them never do. That means we can run the math and we can go like, well, that means we can go 80% over the actual Bitcoin that we have on hand. We can sell 80%, in excess of 80% of the Bitcoin that we have. And if we ever go over that threshold of, the people's wanting to withdraw that 10% that we claim we have, that we actually have type of thing, we can go out and find it on the open market. And, the problem is, if something happens and suddenly everybody's rushing, and we've seen this with exchanges, everybody starts to rush to pull out Bitcoin or whatever the crypto is, suddenly the exchange shuts down, right? And you just can't do it. You can't withdraw. You can't deposit. This is another reason to do self-custody. But it could take them weeks. It could take them months to go out and get all the actual Bitcoin if they're doing this sort of thing. And so, eventually they will probably get caught at some point in time, and the whole thing could just be bad. It could be disastrous. Now, again, there can be auditing and other things that can be done to ensure that this isn't happening, because the Bitcoin blockchain and most blockchains are public. So at some point in time, if somebody's going to do some analysis and kind of figure out that some of this is going on, but it's definitely a possibility, and so it's just another reason to. So let's talk about how to do self-custody really quickly, just to wrap things up here. We're almost done with today's episode. There's two ways to do self-custody. One is in a local wallet on your computer or phone, and another is in cold storage with either a paper or hardware wallet. So there are security issues to consider with each of these options, and number one security issue is back up your private keys. Back up your private keys. Back up your private keys. Shall I say it again? There are stories after story after story upon stories of people who've lost their private keys and lost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Don't be that guy. Back up your private keys. Store the private keys on multiple pieces of paper or multiple encrypted and password protected thumb drives. Now, if you're relatively new, you might be saying, well, what the heck is a private key? Whenever you set up a wallet, all right, if it's a local wallet on your computer or on your smartphone, if it's a legitimate self-custody type of wallet, because there are a couple that are not, make sure you use a wallet that gives you private keys. That is an actual full-fledged self-custody type of wallet. Atomic wallet would be an example. Exodus wallet would be an example. Any wallet that's built for the respective coin. With Cardano, it's Daedalus. With Polkadot, there's a number of them. You can use Polka wallet, etc. Each of these is going to give you a private key, which is a number of words. 12, 16, whatever it is, 21. And you've got to write these words down on a piece of paper, or create a file on an encrypted, this is the way I like to do it, thumb drive. Get yourself a thumb drive, encrypt it, and in this article, if you want to go to blockthrasher.com and find this article on how to safely safeguard your crypto, safeguarding your crypto, I'll walk you through on how to do that, how to encrypt your drive. Encrypt it, password protect it, put a text document in there with your private keys, duplicate it, make 2 or 3 or 4 of these things. Put one in your home, put one in your car, put one with a friend, put one in a safe deposit bank. Back it up, have multiple copies. This is how you're going to ensure that you don't lose those private keys. Incredibly, incredibly important. Absolutely crucial. Now, you can also store crypto safely in cold storage. So cold storage is the safest option. With cold storage, your crypto is stored offline, away from the prying eyes of hackers. There are 2 ways to do cold storage. There's the paper wallets and the thumb drives, which I was just talking about. Using a paper wallet is as simple as writing down the recovery phrase multiple times and in multiple places. If you're doing it with paper, do the same thing I was saying before. Put one in your safe. Put one in a safe deposit box. Maybe put one in a place with a trusted friend at a location that is not your home in case of fire or flood or some other kind of disaster. Hardware wallets. The Trezor wallet is a phenomenal way to store your crypto offline safely and securely. You can purchase it directly from the manufacturer. I have a link. I'll provide a link in the description for both the YouTube videos, for the podcast, and there's a link on the website at the article as well. The Trezor wallet is very simple, simple, easy to use, safe, and secure. I highly recommend it. Well, friends, thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate you. As always, remember, it is a great, great day and time to earn more crypto. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you have a phenomenal day. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.